Hey guys, what the freak is up? I'm so excited for today's episode. I get so nervous that I'm like not recording or something, and so I have to like double check a million times. But we're recording, okay? I have this fear that like the entire episode is going to just like delete, and then I'd be really sad. But we're recording, and today I have a little latte next to me. So I'm gonna take a little sip of that before we start, ASMR. Delicious. Okay. Today I'm really excited because I kind of wanted to talk about friendships, which is a big fat topic. I've been thinking about friendships pretty deeply since I moved to LA, and I've also been thinking about them differently. I feel like after I finished college, because we're in the real world now. Like, we can't just be messing around, I feel like I have to be more picky. I feel like I have to like navigate who I want to spend time with, and like you also like make your own schedule as an adult, so it's like, oh, like now I have to decide things that I didn't have to before. So I don't know, I feel like friendship's been on my mind lately, and so I wanted to rant about it today, literally rant, because we're gonna be talking about different types of friendships, toxic friendships, and like all the fun stuff that I kind of wish somebody told me sooner. I feel like there's not a lot to learn about friendships until you like go through it yourself. Like, you kind of have to learn everything the hard way, but I'm here to tell you guys so that hopefully you can kind of relate to this and we can just, bond over that. I'm a little distracted right now because my freaking upstairs neighbor, whoever lives above me, they like move this desk around all day, and I hear like, and it's like, let's calm it down with the furniture moving. Okay, what are you, a furniture moving company? I don't know. But anyway, that was a terrible joke. We can just get into it. I think they'll stop moving their furniture. Hopefully you guys can't even hear it. I wanted to talk about friendships. There is freaking road work going on. Like, I cannot even catch a break, you guys. I can't catch a break. I can't. I'm honestly in one of those moods today, guys, where I'm just like irked, where you're just like irked by everything and you're like, ugh, like everything is irking me. So I'm going to try to take a deep breath. Honestly, this is the realness, okay? A really quick off-topic rant, and then we'll get into friendships. I just want to say that, like, everyone thinks that, like, I get comments all the time, like, how are you always positive? But honestly, like, there are so many days where everything just frustrates me and gets on my nerves, but I kind of just look at it as, like, comedic, like, look, there goes the freaking backup truck again. Can we stop with the road work? I don't know. I just kind of, like, view myself as a character in a TV show, and then I'm like, if all of these things were happening to a character in a TV show, it would be kind of funny. So that's how I look at life. And but the truth is, I'm not always positive. Some days I'm very annoyed, like today, but we're just gonna make the most of it and have a fun time together. I also feel like ranting about things, like being in a fired up mood, is kind of fun and kind of like a fun bonding experience. So let's rant about friendships. I have been through so many different types of friendships in my life, and I kind of wanted to like reflect on like the different categories of people I've met in friendships. I kind of want to talk about the different categories of friendships that I've encountered in my life, because I feel like there's been so many. And I've also been through like different types of toxic friendships, which I wanted to talk about, because I think it's really important to know what is a toxic friend, you guys, okay? Because sometimes they sneak up on you. Sometimes you don't even see it coming, and you don't even like think someone's going to be toxic to you, and then they are, and it's like, whoa, I didn't even know that you had that side to you. Okay. I want to start this off by saying that friendships are extremely important, you guys. Okay. That sounds pretty freaking obvious, but let's talk about why. It literally affects your energy all of the time. Like, if you have crappy friends who honestly couldn't care less about you, you're kind of going to feel like crap and not really realize why. I feel like I was going through this at a point in LA where I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't really made like good quality friends, and it made me want to go home. And also I was having like mental breakdowns like every day. And I think it's because for me, I value people like so much, like the people in my life, like I value them so much. So for me, like the people I surround myself with is so incredibly important. And so it's kind of like, it affects me a lot who I spend my time with. So that was the first thing I want to say, is that friendships are so important to analyze every once in a while, because if not, you can kind of get stuck with people who aren't really good for you. And also, I wanted to say that just because two people aren't good for each other in a friendship doesn't mean those people are bad people. Just because someone is also like a toxic friend to you doesn't mean that they're a bad person. And I think that took me a little bit of maturing to realize, but like it's so true because sometimes people's dynamics just don't work and people can become toxic for each other, not good for each other. And it doesn't really mean that either person's a bad person. So that's the first thing I wanted to get out of the way, a little disclaimer, because I feel like there's this negative meaning behind a toxic friend where it's like, they're the worst. You need to cut them off. And honestly, like, yeah, some of the things that toxic friends do is it's uncool and it's not good for you. And it is terrible, but it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means that you guys aren't meant to be friends. Well, honestly, it depends what they do. I feel like I'm rambling today. That's just the style we're gonna talk in because that's how I'm feeling. Rant and rambly is how I'm feeling today. So, guys, I feel like this is the most like real podcast I've made so far. Like I'm actually in a frustrated, ranty mood. And so I feel like you guys are getting like the real side of me. You know what I mean? Okay. I wanted to say also that one thing about friendships that I realized is that it's really okay to categorize your friends into different categories. I used to think that sounds like kind of mean in a weird way. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone out there, but I used to think it was like kind of mean to put people into categories and like level your friends like, oh, this person's on this level and this person's on this level. Like I thought that was kind of mean, but honestly it's necessary because not everyone that you are friends with is going to be like a ride or die person for you. And that's also like okay. That's an okay thing that not everyone's going to be like a ride or die friend. But it's really important to figure out who your real friends are because not everyone's going to be there for you 100% of the time. And not everyone's going to be one of those friends that you can call at any hour and be there for you, honestly. There are different types of friends. So let's get into it. I want to talk about some of the different types of friends I've encountered in my life and what I think of them. I wrote down some types of friends that I've encountered. Friends that are ride or dies. Let's start out with the big one, okay? These are probably the hardest to meet, and it's kind of like life-changing when you meet a ride or die friend. I feel like you'll have one of these at a time, maybe two, because ride or die people are really rare to find. If you have more than two ride or die friends, like I'm jealous, hand them over. But typically, like this is one of those things where it's like quality over quantity, and you typically meet these people and they're kind of like someone who's going to accept you no matter what state you're in. Even if you're at your absolute worst or you're peaking and you're thriving, you're doing the best, they're there for you every step of the way. They're the person that like you can call at any hour. They're super dependable. These are the best types of friends, honestly. But they're kind of rare to find. And also I feel like sometimes long-term friends can be like these ride or dies. And I feel like we've all had a friendship where it's been like super long-term and then you guys just like aren't friends anymore, and it's like one of the most heartbreaking. It's kind of like a breakup, honestly. Friend breakups are literally worse than breakups sometimes, I feel like. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, relationships, it's hard, okay? But friend breakups, it's like that person, I feel like friends just like know you on a deeper level than people you're dating and will accept more about you than the people you're dating most of the time. So honestly, friend breakups suck and they're so hard, but I feel like we've all been through like one like that where it's like you're long-term friends and then you're just not one day. That's so sad. What was I talking about? Oh, ride or dies. I feel like a tier below that is the friends that you see like on occasion. Maybe this is like 2 tiers below that. But like the friends that you see on occasion, you don't always hang out with. And I still consider these people to be friends because at the end of the day, they do care about you. And it's just the fact that they're not like dumb loyal to you where they're a ride or die. But you know what? It's not really feasible for everyone to be that top tier level of friend because everyone has such busy lives. You can't really expect that from people. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to gauge who is going to be like a good friend to you and who's going to be the people that you kind of see every once in a while, catch up with. Maybe they don't know everything that's going on in your life, but you guys kind of catch up every once in a while. You care about each other. Those are really good types of friends. That's still a really good type of friend to have. You just have to know in your head that they might not be the people that you go to when you need someone, when you're like really upset, you know? Because not everyone's gonna give you that like ride or die energy. Another type of friend that I freaking love, this one is like the best. I love low maintenance friends. Low maintenance friends are kind of the best because you can go years weeks, months, years without speaking, and you're still freaking tight. Like, when you call them up, it's like nothing ever happened. Or if you hang out once every like 6 months, it's like nothing's changed and you guys are like chilling. Those are honestly the best types of friends. I love low maintenance friends. And it's kind of like, I feel like those are the ones that last the longest, because it's like you've been friends for a while, but you're not always catching up. So there's less of a chance to like have a fight or like distance or like whatever, because it's just like you can pick up where you left off and they don't need constant attention. You guys don't always need to be knowing what you guys are up to all the time, and that's kind of like a really special friendship. I love those. Another type of friend is like the long-term friends, like the friends that you've had for years and years and years. And I want to talk about long-term friends because I think something I've learned recently is just because you're friends with someone for a long time doesn't mean that you guys are meant to be friends forever. I think there's this like thought that people have where when you become friends with someone, and it's almost like a competition, like how long have you known someone? And that usually like people think that how long you've known someone correlates to how good of friends you are. But honestly, that's not really true, because you could be friends with someone for literally years, and then at one point they stop putting in the effort to like know what's going on in your life, and they just assume that they kind of know what's going on in your life because you guys have known each other for so long. But the truth about people is that they change and adapt, and people are always changing. You are always changing. You're constantly going through things that shape you as a person. And I think one of the things with long-term friends that can get difficult is if they just assume that they know you and know what's going on with you at all times because they've known you for so long. Because the thing about friendship is you kind of need to renew it. It's kind of like a renewable thing. You need to renew it every so often. You need to check in with your friends and see how they're different and be genuinely like open to being like, maybe this person is changing. Maybe they're not the person that they were 2 years ago. Because I feel like the reason I've had to distance from some friends is because they see this past version of me and not who I am currently. And they honestly don't care to know who I am currently because they just assume that they know what's going on in my life. And that's really hard, because I think it's hard to distance from people that you've known for such a long time. But if your friends aren't willing to like keep up with you and want to see you grow and want to see you change for the better, and they want to know how you're different, and they're putting in the effort to keep up with you and your life and your mind and your thoughts and how you're a different person, honestly, they're not a great quality friend. If someone's looking at you and only seeing a past version of you and not caring enough to figure out how you're different now and evaluate if you guys are still good friends, like, I don't know. I just feel like some people who are long-term friends just assume, and that's why a lot of those long-term friendships don't work. I also freaking love these friendships. I call them situational friends, and this is like the person that you see in class, or a good example of this is like the person that you're friends with in school but you would never hang out with outside of school. Like, I just think it's funny because I don't know if you would count these as real friends at the end of the day, but they're just situational friends, and it's funny. It's like you guys have a class together and that's all you talk about, and it's so fun, and they're necessary. You need to have situational friends because it just like keeps you going through life. It's super fun. I remember like all these people that I would meet in my classes and never talk to them after that class was over, but it was like, hey, we had a good time together. We had some fun memories, but you're not going to be at my wedding, probably. Oh my gosh. Imagine me getting married, guys. Oh my gosh. Anyway, me wearing white right now. I would wear a white hoodie to my wedding, to be honest. Honestly, weddings are kind of scary. This is not the topic we're talking about today, but I've been thinking about weddings a lot more, and I'm like, whoa, like that's kind of crazy. Like, you're gonna meet someone and like marry them. Like, you're gonna meet someone and like want to marry them. Like, that's so weird. And sometimes I think about the fact that I'm like 22 and I'm like, oh, like I have to meet someone to marry. I feel like ideally I'd want to get married like 25, 26 maybe. No, wait, that's really early actually, now that I think about it. Maybe 27, 28? I don't know. In the range of 26 to 28, right? But I'm 22. So it's like, when am I going to meet? Who am I? I mean, I think that's still a long time. As long... One day I'll meet the soulmate, you know what I mean? Okay, anyway. I feel like I'm in my era where I'm like focusing on myself, so it doesn't even really... This is the biggest off-topic rant I've had in a while. But I think it's kind of funny to talk about because honestly, I've been thinking about this so much recently. No, I'm in my era where I don't even want to meet someone. You know what? Whatever. No, I don't even want that. Maybe I do. I don't. Anyway, so back to friendships. I can't do this. Okay, let's talk about toxic friends because I think that there's a fun little... Toxic friends are so fun. Just kidding. I have had a fair share of toxic friends, and I think I know some signs of someone being a toxic friend, so I kind of want to tell you guys, because I think that the thing with toxic friends is that they're not always toxic. It's like these little things that they do are toxic, and so it's kind of funny. So let's talk about some of them. Ooh, okay, I really want to rant about this. One of the signs of a toxic friend is someone who randomly switches their energy on you, okay? This sucks. These people suck, okay? I hate them. They are the worst, and they can stub their toe or something, you know? I hate these types of people because I feel like I get my hopes up with friends, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we vibe so well. We're, like, such good friends. But some people are, like, the type to, like, really, really vibe with you and be really good friends with you, and then randomly, they'll switch up their energy on you and be the worst person ever. Like, they will act like they don't care about you, and you'll be like, what the freak happened? Because I'm just being normal, and all of a sudden this person has, like, kind of, like, hatred or, like, coldness towards me, or, like, it's just the weirdest thing ever, and I hate people like this because it's like, don't even bother being friends with someone at that point. You know what I mean? Like, why are you trying to vibe with me and we're having such a good time most of the time, and then randomly you want to be the worst person and, like, not care about me and give me weird energy. I hate friends like this, honestly. It's like the ones that are kind of hot and cold. It's like if mixed signals were a friendship, and it's just the worst because it's confusing and you're kind of like, what the heck is wrong with this person? Because, like, you literally get along so well sometimes, but then other times they're just the worst type of person where they don't really care that genuinely about you. Maybe they're more self-centered. Maybe they just are cold and mean. Maybe they're just the worst type of person. And I hate these friendships because it's hard to distance yourself from someone when you guys do have good times together. But honestly, I don't think that these friendships, like, serve you. I think that these friendships are really draining. And it's important to know what kind of friendships are draining, because at the end of the day, you should be alone instead of being surrounded by people who make you feel drained. And so you need to realize what types of people make you feel drained, what types of people you don't want to be around, because it's just literally the worst. Like, it's so draining to have to constantly think about, how does this person feel about me? Or are we still good friends? Or why are they treating me like this all of a sudden? Like, that is draining. And, like, you'll be sitting there and overthinking, does this person even like me? And you can't have people in your life where you're wondering if they like you. You are worth so much more than that, and you deserve people who are going to make you feel like you're worth something all of the time. Not when it's convenient for them, and not when they're just having, like, a really good time and they're thriving and then all of a sudden they want to vibe with you. No, you need people who are going to be around you, like, and give you that good energy no matter what. You need people around you who are going to give you that good energy and give you the same energy that you give them back to you all of the time, or they're not worth it. That was a good TikTok quote. Anyway, I just think that this is really important because it's easy to kind of overlook friendships when they're being, like, bad to you. It's easy to be like, whatever, they didn't mean it, let's move on. Or that only happens every once in a while, so I don't really need to cut them off. But you do, because it's draining and terrible. So, okay, another type of friendship that I hate is, like, competition friendships, like competitive friends. I feel like I have met girls, this is specifically with girls for me, I feel like I've met girls who, like, randomly get super competitive with me and, like, hate me. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I could talk about this. There was this one friendship where, like, this girl, like, literally just started to hate me out of nowhere. Like, we got along so well, and then one day she just literally hated me and was so mean to me and would start rumors about me, like, behind my... She was never mean to my face, but she'd be kind of cold towards me, and then I would hear things she said about me to other people. And I was just like, what is wrong with, like, what? Because in my head, I thought we were, like, vibing so well and we were such good friends, but then I realized that she was, like, talking about me behind my back. And there's people like this who will randomly get like jealous or competitive with you. I hate competitive friendships because I'm not a competitive person. I hate competition. I don't really like it. I've never been a competitive person. So when someone comes at me and like tries to one up me, you know, when you're friends with someone and they try to like one up you in conversation, it's always low key, but you know that they're being like competitive with you. Or they get like weird when you have good news, they get like really weird and they're not happy for you. That's like a competitive friend. And I hate that energy because it honestly makes me feel like a bad friend back, because if someone's competitive with me, I'm like, I don't like you. I don't like this. And then I become like less friendly and nice. And I hate that. I don't want anyone to take away from my energy of being a nice person and being a good friend. So if you're in a situation like that, you can't be, because people that are competitive and jealous are insecure at heart, and that's sad. But honestly, if they're taking it out on you and being a bad person because of it, that's terrible. And you're going to find yourself being a little more cold and mean and not caring because this person's treating you like crap. And so you can't be around people like that, because it's going to bring down your energy and make you competitive and make you like feel crappy all the time and focus on like who's doing better than you. Like, you just cannot be in that state, honestly. So that's like a type of friend that I feel like can be really toxic, is competitive friends. Because honestly, this girl was like still nice to my face, but I would just hear all these things she was saying behind my back, and it's just like, what is wrong with you? You know, like I used to think there's something wrong with me. I was like, oh, I wonder why she randomly hates me. Like, this sucks. But at the end of the day, that person, whoever they are, if they're talking bad about you behind your back, they're insecure and they feel so bad about themselves that they can only make themselves feel better by bringing other people down, which is really sad. But you can't be around people like that or make excuses for them. Ooh, okay. Another type of friend that I hate is friends that take up too much space. I hope this makes sense to people, but I feel like I've met people who never want to let other people shine. Like, it has to be their show all of the time. And that's not good in a friendship. Like they just take up too much space. They don't really care about getting to know you that deeply. They're kind of like narcissistic in a way where they want like everything to be about them. And if the conversation changes to something that's not about them, they like bring it back to them and like relate it back to them. Those type of people are so weird to me, because a lot of times I feel like they lack social awareness, and I'll be around people who just like, they can't have the conversation not be about them. And it's like so weird for everyone else in the room, because you're just like, yeah, okay. And you all like exchange looks because that person like just cannot stand like not talking about themselves. Or it's just like the friend that like, when you're in a one-on-one situation, they only talk about themselves and bring up their own problems, or they relate every problem you tell them back to themselves. And there's a difference between like relating your problems back to yourself and like doing this all the time. I feel like, yes, it's helpful when my friends, if I tell them a problem and they're like, well, this happened to me once and I dealt with it this way. That's so helpful and nice. But when it's like every time you bring up a problem and they're like, well, one time this happened to me, let things not be about that for once. You know what I mean? So just be careful with that. I don't like people like that. I think that a friendship needs to have mutual listening, and friends should want to know what's going on in your life. So if you feel like the friendship is like one-sided, where they only want to tell you things about themselves and like they don't really care about you, ew, that's icky energy. You know what I mean? Just no, cut it off. Then there's friends that like don't really know you, which I feel like I've covered. Like, this one's kind of like the one I was talking about earlier, where it's like long-term friends, but this doesn't always have to be long-term friends. I feel like there's people who like will have this idea of a past you and want you to be that person, and they kind of just convince themselves that you are that person. And even if you've changed, even if you've gone through things that have made you a different person, they still only see that past version of you. And that's not really helpful for your growth as a person, because you're constantly going to be changing. And so you need to evaluate every once in a while like who your friends are and if they're evolving with you, or if they're just kind of staying where they were and they want you to stay as a past version of yourself that's not making progress, because that's not really healthy. Ooh, and then the worst one is the friends that try to make you look bad in front of other people. These are the worst types of people, bro. Like, you'll be in front of like a cute guy or something and they'll just like crap on you. Like, I don't know how to say it, but like there's these situations where they make these subtle comments and it's just like, what are you doing? Like, what is your goal here? And it is just so weird. Or they like try to make you look weird. Like they'll be like, oh my gosh, you're so weird. You're such a weirdo. And then they'll like expose you or try to make up like these weird things about you in front of other people. I hate that energy so much. It's just like the randomest thing ever. Like sometimes I'll be really good friends with someone and they'll kind of just give me this weird energy in front of other people where they're trying to make me look worse than them to make themselves look superior. It's a really weird thing and it's immature. It's strange. Your friend should want you to look good, not bad, because what? It just doesn't make sense to me. And I want to talk about cutting people off because I get a lot of questions from people in my comments. You guys are always like, how do I cut someone off? Like, I don't know how to cut someone off, how to stop being friends with somebody. And honestly, it's just about distancing. I give people a lot of chances. I tend to be one of those people who gives people a decent amount of chances. But I also feel like I've gotten to a point where I have standards. So it's like, I used to be a doormat. I used to let anyone treat me however they wanted. I didn't have standards for friendships. I kind of thought that everyone should be like really there for me all the time. Like I was naive, okay? And I was just one of those people who was trying to give my all to all of my friendships. And that's just not sustainable. And people would walk all over me and friends would try to be like, oh, that's another type of toxic friend, the controlling friends. People would try to control me and like try to tell me what to do. And I would just listen and be a doormat. And now I have a clear idea in my head of like what type of friends I want. I know the red flags that I see that I've named a few already, but like I know some red flags that I have to avoid. And so now if I see someone start to, let's say I'm like really good friends with someone and they start to like show these little red flags, I just take a mental note every time that they, are a red flag. And then if it's enough times where I'm like, okay, this person, that's like a constant pattern. Like this person does this constantly because people make mistakes, honestly. So if someone's like being mean or like does something and messes up and they apologize or it's a one-time thing, like, yeah, it's fine with me. It's okay. I know that people don't always mean things and mistakes happen, whatever. But if it's like a pattern of behavior where someone's just like making you look bad in front of other people all the time or they're getting competitive with you all the time, that's when I'm like, okay, I've decided that this person's not good for me. And I kind of try to distance myself from them. So start to say no to like hanging out and just honestly start to do you and just distance yourself any way you can. And honestly, at that point, the friendship will fade because a friendship needs two people to keep it alive. So yeah, I also don't think it's a bad thing if you want to straight up say, if you think it's something that the friend can change, you can also straight up be like, hey, this is really bothering me. Did you realize that you were doing this because it's hurting my feelings? And kind of see what they say because things are fixable. If you think the person can change, I would recommend maybe bringing it up to them. But if you think it's like someone who's not going to change, I just would distance myself. Honestly, that's how I would handle things. I don't know. That's just how I've come to be with people. So I asked you guys on Snap for like some questions about friendships. So we're just going to answer. I asked you guys on Snapchat and Instagram for like questions about friendships. So let's see what you guys said. Okay, someone said how to tell my ex-best friend that I don't want to be her friend anymore. Again, I feel like this is the same thing where either you have a conversation and you say, these are the things that are bothering me. Did you realize you're doing it? Are you willing to change? This could go badly because they might take offense to it. But honestly, if you're honest and upfront with someone and, the friendship doesn't work out, then at least you tried. But see, I feel like if I was friends with someone for like a long time and they started showing these red flags, I would just try to confront them and like say what was bothering me, because if you think it's worth saving, definitely try to confront them and like see if you guys can have a conversation about it. See if you did something to hurt them maybe and they were acting different because of it. Like just see. But if you think it's not worth saving, then I would just like slowly distance myself. And if they're really not getting the hint, then you just say, hey, like I don't think this friendship is like beneficial for me anymore, to be honest. And that sounds so mean, but as long as you just like say it flat how it is. I honestly barely do this. I feel like I'd rather like distance myself. But if they're really not getting the hint and they want some sort of explanation, just explain to them. Be straight up. Be like, this is what you did that kind of hurt my feelings and I don't know if this is beneficial for me anymore. It sucks, but at the end of the day, like you have to pick people who are good for you and are good friends. Someone said, I'm scared my friends don't like me. Do you have advice for this? Oh, yes. I am such an overthinker. So I feel like the first thing is think about it. Are you creating this reality in your head where they don't like you? Or are they actually showing signs that they don't like you? Because that's two different scenarios. Like, I am such an overthinker and I constantly convince myself that everyone is mad at me. I always convince myself that everyone is mad at me. Everyone hates me in my life. Like, nobody like really cares about me. I have that kind of self-destructive mentality sometimes. So really think about, is this in your head, or are these people showing signs, like not including you, like purposefully leaving you out? Like, are they showing signs that they don't like you, or are you just thinking that they don't like you? Because that's really important. Someone said, how do you deal with fake friends? Like, I don't. I have no tolerance for this anymore, you guys. Like, I straight up, like, if someone's fake to me, like they're nice to my face but mean behind my back, I cannot stand it. And I just completely avoid. I avoid and I don't speak to them because it's not worth your time or your effort to talk to people like that. Like, it really isn't. They're honestly not going to change, so it's just not worth your time. You're worth so much more than someone who's going to be nice to your face and mean behind your back. Like, you don't need that. There are people who are going to support you and be nice to you and want to see good things for you, and they're not going to be like that, you know? So you need to find those people, and even if it means being alone for a while, that's better than being friends with fake people. Someone said, how do I cut people off without feeling bad? Again, I think it's all about distancing yourself and not making it like a huge deal. Cutting people off doesn't have to be such a big deal, honestly. It could just be you starting to hang out more alone and saying no to plans. And honestly, at that point, like, that's good enough. Like, that's good, where you don't have to like go up to them and be like, we're not friends anymore, and make it a big deal. But just like start distancing yourself. And if they really like need an explanation, then just be straight up with them. Okay, I'm gonna answer one more question. Someone said, what's most important in a friendship according to you? Okay. What is most important in a friendship? I think the key, like, most important thing that I value in friendships is reliability. I cannot stand people who like claim that they're there for you and never really are, or people who act like they care about you but then like honestly never show it. You know, I feel like reliability is like the biggest thing for me. Or I told you, it freaking pisses me off when people are like on and off with you. Like, they're nice to you sometimes and then they're the worst person in the world, and then they're nice to you and then they're cold, and then they're nice to you and then they want to make you look bad. I cannot stand on and off people. So for me, I can't deal with friends like that. I can't deal with people like that. My biggest thing with friendship is, can I count on you to be there for me? And if I can't, like, I kind of don't waste my time, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be friends with people who aren't truly caring about me. And that does mean I have like less friends. Like, I definitely guard myself a little bit and who I spend time with, but it means that the people that I do choose, like, they are great people and I want to keep them in my life. And yeah, I would rather invest my time in someone who's going to invest their time back into me. You know what I mean? And friendship should be going two ways and giving each other the same energy. That's how I feel like friends should be. So if I'm not going to be on and off with someone, if I'm not going to make them look bad and they're doing that to me, goodbye. Like, I'm not giving you that energy, so why are you giving that to me? I just cannot stand it. And so reliability is definitely the most important thing when it comes to friendships for me. There are moms arguing outside. Okay, I feel like that is a great place to wrap this episode. I freaking love you guys. I hope you enjoyed our little talk on friendship. I really needed to rant, so that honestly felt great. Thank you very much. Make sure you follow and rate the pod on Spotify, Apple, wherever you guys are listening to it, YouTube. I freaking love you guys, and I hope that this helps. I hope that this cleared some things up for you. I hope that you're able to kind of like leave this episode being a little more picky about who you spend your time with, because that's really important. And I don't think I realized how important that was when I was younger. So I kind of want to share that with you, and hopefully that helps someone out. I love you guys, and I think that you guys deserve the absolute world. So if someone's not treating you like you deserve the world, they need to go, okay? Just send them this voice message of me. Hey, stop being mean, and that person is a little angel, and they deserve better than you. Okay? So I want to protect you guys at all costs. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's pod. Again, make sure to follow the pod. Follow me on everything. I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, at Niki_Patton with 1K. And I love you guys. Let me know what you want to see in the next episode, and I will talk to you soon.